Hello guys, and this tutorial I will show you how you can create automate Microsoft Form and then through Power Automate and also capture the attachments from Microsoft Form and insert that attachment or upload it into OneDrive, or also how we can upload the attachment into Azure DevOps work item as an attachment, and also I'll show you how you can create Azure DevOps work item uh, through Power Automate and upload the attachment. So as always, it's better to create a solution. So we give a solution, for example, a solution name. We call it MS Forms test, and we choose the publisher, and or we can choose the default publisher, whatever you can choose, and then create. Once the solution is created, we go to the flows and create a new cloud flow. I'll skip this step, and then from the triggers, I'll choose Forms, Microsoft Forms, when a form is submitted. So it asks creating the connection. So it asks if you see in Microsoft Form, I have forms here. So if you create new forms, it will also list it there when you're logged in. So just as a sample, I'll choose the form. Then next step, let's give our flow a name. MS Forms Automation. And then let's give it one action, for example. I usually, when I capture the forms, I also initialize some variable to store their forms data just for debugging, and that helps a lot. So initialize, I'll choose the variable. For example, initialize variable. I will give var, for example, category type, can say string, default value none. The form step, I like to go to the new layout, so I'll refresh my solution. Find my solution. Here, MS Forms Automation, and go to the cloud flow and open the cloud flow again and edit it. Okay, So I initialize the variable category. I can give the a name var category. And then what we can, I mean, this, I'm just trying to save time, just like I will usually, whatever form fields I have, I will create some variables, and the next step, I will again use the uh, Microsoft Form connector and search it forms. And this time I will use the get response details. So here you give again the form that you used, and then the response ID would be, you choose the dynamic content. When a form is submitted, you would choose the response ID. So we get that, and okay, we get the response details and response ID. Next step, for example, if you wanted to set the variable, set the set variable, then we can choose our variable and set the value again from the get response detail. For example, if we had the category, like then you can set that. So because this form is simple, I give it. I haven't given any categories here. I've just recommended here. So we can give it one of the options we have. You can set the value. So once we set the value, then okay, we have this. Let me make it a little simpler just to give this one category. Let me close this section. Just need to have the file uploads and then the category. Just these two. For that to reflect in our form, I need to save this one. I'll ask for the value. Right now I'll put the test. Usually you have to refresh so that your form's values get the latest changes. Again, you have the agreement form, and then here from the agreement form we get the response ID, and then for example we want to set this one to the value of the form. You see we change the category. For example, we select the category. We set set var category. It's better to always name it too, so that you can know it. Next, for example, let's say if the form has an attachment, so we have attachment. Sometime we if the we want to make sure, like if the form has attachment, then we can go process the attachment. If not, then we can trigger the form simply. So we can use the control a condition. For example, from the here we can say from get response details, we choose the files. Okay. And we can say is not equals to, sorry, is not equals to blank. So this way it checks if it has a file or attachment. So then we can, once we did that, we here on the data operation, we can parse JSON. We can get the the file, okay, and then we can use type. It comes as an array type, so I use the array. Okay, so next we can use the Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps create work item, for example. Okay, let me see if I can set up the DevOps in my free account. Azure DevOps. Oh no, I think dev.azure.com. I don't have an Azure DevOps, so let me see. Okay, here we give the org names. I mean your Azure DevOps name, like I just gave it test org name. Then you give the type of work item, like if you want to create the whatever, if it's a work item or back task or whatever. You give a title, you give whatever description. I mean, if you wanted to dynamically create from the a response of the Microsoft form, you can use the dynamic content. And for example, you can choose whatever details you get from the form. Just to have one field and just think one, and then if there are any additional columns, you can use that to create the work item. So, and then once you have created the work item, like we want to attach the the attachment file, so it can be one or many. So that's why we parse JSON as array, and because it's come as array. So then what we can do is we use the again we can use the condition apply to each. We use the parse JSON body. Then we can call the OneDrive. There's a git file content. Let me see if it comes directly. Yeah, there's a connector from the OneDrive for business git file content. We call the git file content. So okay, then it asks for the file ID. I will give the we did apply apply to each current item. We give the file ID. It will come like this. So once we get that, we need to initialize an array variable also to get the okay, get the we call the append to array variable. Sorry, we need to first initialize the variable. For example, we name it for my files and we choose the type as an array. So we initialize the variable, array variable. Then what we will do once we get the file content, then we use the Pin to array. Pin to array. Let me favorite this one. So we use the append to array variable, and then we choose our array. Then inside here we will be using name, the dynamic content, current item, name, then comma, and then content bytes. Then we get the from the git. We use the git file content. We use the file content from the OneDrive connector. So whatever is on the file content, so we get it this way. Once we get this, the next step is we want to upload this file to Azure DevOps work item. So we created the work item, so that's how we do it. Now we want to attach this file to the same work item. So we want to attach to this one. So what we can do is we call again Azure DevOps connector. We already have it here. So here we call the HTTP trigger connector from the Azure DevOps. Send an HTTP request to Azure DevOps. Because I don't have the audio, it's giving me Azure DevOps. It gives me error, but anyway, I'm just showing how we can use it. Okay, so we call the HTTP Request trigger, we give the organization name, your organization name from the Azure DevOps. Then the method we choose post. Then here you give the relative path URI. So usually, for example, it would be your organization name, for example. Let's say if I said my ADO org, here it would be my ADO org. And then if there's uh, then AP like if there's a team, then it would be tech team. Then for underline APIs, underline WIT, underline attachments, question mark, file name equals. Then here we again give the current item name, file name. Name, then and API dash version equals 7.2 dash preview. This endpoint might change. You need to check it with the documentation for the HTTP request Azure DevOps ADO connection. So you expand this advanced parameters on the header. You give the content type application slash octet stream. Then on the body, we make the we use the base 64. Then we get the get file content type. And we give the we convert it to base 64. And here body is base 64. We choose yes. Then once we made these changes, we use compose operation. When we send the request, we get the body. So I use the compose option. Then I'm getting the compose output. URL. Next, we will do another DevOps send HTTP request. Again, we give it some test organization name, whatever you had. I mean, it should be the same here. Should be the same for all of your connections. Okay, it's much better. So we send another HTTP request to our organization. This time we call the patch that, and then we give the relative URI. So again, if we have the same kind of the same team slash APIs slash WIT slash work. This time we call the work item slash. Now we give the ID of the work item. So we call the create work item. So once work item is created, we get that ID of that work item. And then API dash version equals 7.2 dash preview. Again, we expand the advanced content and the header. We call content type application slash JSON dash patch plus JSON. And then in the body, we need to write the following. So it's an array. OP add path value. Rel attachment attached file URL. We get the out of the campus one over here. You can call this one URL just to make it simple. So you can CLSS URL. And then call the attributes. Comment if we have any, if you want to add any comments or something. Test form. So yeah, this is the end. So this once the form is submitted, once you submit a form and upload an attachment to this form, then once this flow would trigger, it will trigger and it will check if it has an attachment. Then it will go create a work item and also attach the file into the Azure DevOps work item. So and then if it doesn't have the attachment, then you can just simply create the work item. So you don't need to call these other steps like sending HTTP request. So this how you can create you can upload Microsoft Form attachments into Azure DevOps work item, and also how you can use Microsoft Forms with Power Automate for any automations. Thank you.